Hi everybody and welcome to our latest YouTube video. It's another interview video. It's another 22 questions to one of our CWC staff members. And tonight it's Evert Oostdam. Now I'm hoping I've pronounced that correctly because my Dutch is not great. But it did say to me, don't worry if you get it wrong, everybody else does. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring Evert in now. Now Evert's well known for Perch Pro through CWC, doing those sort of programs, and he's been around the game for a long time. He owns his own businesses to do with predator fishing. But what we'll do is I'll just ask him a couple of questions and we'll get straight into it. Right, I'll fetch him into the chat. Evert, are you there?
Hello, Adrian.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah.
I'm
happy to be in your show.
It's not my show, it's your show tonight. So how's Holland? How's things with coronavirus? Is it settling down or are we getting back to normality?
Yeah, we try to get back a little bit like the normal, and the normal is the new normal, so to say. But I hope we can go back to the normal soon. Because
can you fish in Holland?
Yeah, for normal fishing you can fish on carp, whitefish, and so on. But we have closed season for predator fish.
Ah, okay.
And that will open the end of this month. So we have 3 weeks to go, and then we can.
Yes, absolutely. I think that our numbers are dropping gradually, which it sounds like a horrible thing to say, but our deaths are dropping more and more every day. So it's looking like by this weekend, we're hoping the Prime Minister will come out and say, "Listen, you can go out fishing. You can go out and do some social distancing." We all know what we do. Our fishing is social distancing. We don't see anybody. I never see anybody. So I'm actually safer fishing than I am at home or at work. So it's been hard for a lot of people. And people have really struggled at UK. They really have struggled. Me and myself, I think, like I said, I think it's about 8-9 weeks since I went fishing last. So it's been hard for all of us. So there's only fishing and watching TV and YouTube that's kept most people going. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run through these 22 questions. Now, because you're going to struggle to understand how I speak, because I speak so quickly, I did say to you I'd speak much slower. So first of all, obviously, just introduce yourself and tell me who you are.
Well, my name is Evert Oostdam, of course. I'm in the 50s. I'm an old chap, so to say.
Not much older than me.
I'm a former military guy. I was in the Marine Corps and the Army for 24 years. I trained a lot with the Royal Marines. I was a lot in Scotland also. Because I was in a company called 4-5 Commando. It was a part of 4-5 Royal Marines.
The proper hard men.
Yeah. But I did it for 24 years. I got 2 missions, so I'm a veteran as well. But for me, the energy dropped, and fishing came on my path, so to say. I met some guys from CWC, and that's how it all started.
It's as simple as that. You just started fishing. You started fishing, met the right guy, and it took off.
I was fishing a fishing competition for pikes in Sweden.
Okay.
And just beside our cabin was another cabin, and there were 2 guys from CWC. And we met, and we invite them. Oh, come over. The end of the story was they drink all our beer.
Now I'm just wondering who one of those people could be. Was Stefan involved in that drinking?
No. It was the guy. He left the company for a long time. His name was Buster.
Okay, Mr. Buster.
Yeah, and that's how it all started.
Wow, amazing.
And that was 15 years ago.
Now you've you're not only one of our staff, our consultants, but you own Pike Master Lures, which is an online tackle shop in Holland. Do you want to explain about that?
No. Pike Master Lures is it's a wholesale company. It's like the same like CWC, only it's smaller.
Okay.
And I have the distribution for like all the CWC products in the Netherlands and Belgium.
Okay.
I'm in a way like a daughter company of CWC, but it's my own company. And I got mainly like 80% all the stuff that CWC has in the total package.
Yeah.
I sell in the Netherlands and Belgium and some stores in Germany as well.
Yeah, okay. You've also the main man, the owner of Predator, which obviously has been postponed this year until October. How did you get into that? What made you think I'm going to start up the premier pike competition in Europe?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I had a vision. I was fishing in Norway because I love to fish all over the world. And they had a competition and they slaughtered the pikes. Every pike that they caught, they killed. And the winners were the people who bring in the most kilos.
Okay.
And it was shocking. And I was thinking to myself, I have to do something about it. I always wanted to organize a fishing competition. I always had a vision and a dream. I want to create a competition like they do in the States.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't gonna happen in Europe. And I felt in a way, okay, that is my job to do it. And I wrote the script for the tournament in 2 years, in every military detail.
I can well imagine.
Yeah, and then I rolled it out. And the first year we started in Norway with 20 teams. It was really small.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I did in countries in Europe. That's why it's the name Predator Tour. It was like the European tour.
Yeah.
And later on, when it grew bigger, it was more difficult to organize it in other countries because you have to take your whole organizations to other countries and a lot of logistics and so on. So then I was thinking, okay, let's do it in the Netherlands and let all the participants come to me. They do the touring now, but we do it in Holland. And as we speak, it's grow as the European Championship. Yeah. And we have participants from all over Europe, mainly in average like 15 nationalities. And this year we have 150 boats, 150 teams at the start.
Yeah.
And it's growing by the year because now we have a waiting list over 100 teams. So if we put it all on together, it's not possible to do it.
Yeah, too big.
But I think we can start with 250 teams.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, yeah, it's really huge now.
And people worry about pressure, and when you've got 250 teams all fishing at the same time, you're lucky you've got mass expanses of water.
In a way, I agree. Of course, there is pressure, but the track is so enormous, and I always said the real good anglers, they find the fish.
Definitely, yeah.
You have to be creative and fish not on the typical spots that everybody goes. Do your homework, study your Navionics map, study Google, the Google Maps, and be creative.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a competition angler. I've done competitive shooting, so I never really wanted to get, and I didn't really like competitive shooting. It spoilt my enjoyment of shooting. So I never want to get into that side of it. But I do watch the, when you see it start and there's all big boats and they're all huge, big bass boats compared to my little 15-foot aluminium boat at home. And you look at it and you think, I want to be part of it. I'd love to have a go at that. I'd love to have a guest day where you say, today you're going to fish for somebody, you're going to fish for them. I think that'd be amazing because people who don't fish a lot on boats don't realize how good they are and what they can bring to your fishing, and also how nice a platform they have to fish from.
Yeah. Well, CWC has its own competition. It's called Super Pike Open.
Yeah.
and that's a really fun competition to hang out with. It's well organized.
Yeah.
It's organized by Stefan and Martin. He's from the local tackle shop over there.
Okay.
And if you want to do some serious, and first expression for the competition fishing, that's a really nice competition to start with.
I'm not going there and fishing with a Stefan Truman in one boat. That's just wrong. That's just wrong. I want them stood over to one side drinking coffees. Right, let's get straight into questions. There's quite a few of them. Like I say, it took an hour 22 to do, Pierre's. So I'm going to try and speak less and let you speak more. So we've already answered the first one. How long have you worked for CWC and what is your role within the company? I think we've pretty much covered that already. What is a typical working day for you?
Well, to be short, just another day at the office. I will normally in my working day will start around between 7:30 and 8 in the morning. Okay. I'm on the office and do all the kinds of things I have to do. I work together with my son. My son is also in the business, and he does all the customers in the Netherlands and Belgium. And for me, it's more like the sales outside. I'm keeping contact with CWC and stuff like that. Yeah.
So a pretty normal working day then. I know that a lot of guys, obviously, Pierre's ridiculous because he just fishes all the time. Do you actually manage to get much fishing done?
Well, I'm my own boss, so to say. So I can decide tomorrow. Okay, I go out fishing. Okay. But it's also important that I have to run a business.
Of course.
And of course, fishing can be a part of my work because I have to do some product testing and so on. And if CWC has new lures, I get the samples, go out and try them if it works or not. Because I'm always really straight to the guys from, okay, this is a good lure. This can be a bestseller. This is okay, so lure. But then you have to go on the water and test it for yourself. Because for me, it's really important. Always be fair and straight. And don't come with, this is the best lure there is. And in your mind, you know, it's rubbish.
Okay.
So for me, it's also always important to test the lures. And be honest, especially to Life and Stefan, of course, but also to the fishermen.
Yeah, definitely.
Because my motto is always, you can create a company or a business and it will take you 10 years, but you can ruin it in 10 minutes.
Easily. Yeah, you're quite right. Quite right.
Yeah.
Next one, let's have a look. What's your favorite species of fish?
Well, if I have to mention really one, and a lot of people think I'm only fish for perch, and I like that really, but I think still my favorite fish is still the pike.
Yeah.
And hunt for the big ones. And I'm also happy with the 50 centimeter pike, because for me it's still fishing and not only catching meters pike, so to say. But yeah, my favorite species is still the pike.
I'm glad you said that. I thought you would say perch or zander.
No, I love to do perch fishing. I really do. But the pike is still my favorite.
Do you think Holland's maybe? Everybody thinks they're going for big pike. You got Sweden and Roygen and places like that. Do you think Holland's forgotten about its pike catching potential? I know you can go to lots of places in Holland and catch 5-6 pound perch. That's a fact. I've seen that various times. You can catch huge zander there. A pike forgotten about? Is it more guiding when people go out on boats over there? Is it more targeting your perch and zander rather than going for pike?
No, I think to be fair, of course, I understand why a lot of people go to Sweden, because in Sweden you can fish for numbers.
Yeah.
A normal day and a realistic day. A normal day in Sweden you can catch easily 10 pikes.
Yeah.
if you have a good fishing day in Holland, you will be happy when you catch 5.
Okay.
So the potential in numbers is for Sweden much better.
Yeah.
And a lot of people from Holland, they will go to Sweden when the season closed.
Yeah.
There is hardly any fishermen from Holland going to Sweden. Yeah, well, maybe in the autumn, so to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, we go to Sweden in our close season, and I think if we can have a competition like they do on Fly versus Jerk, I think you can beat the other teams fishing in Holland for big pikes. We have such big pikes in our waters. You can't you can't imagine that.
I've seen some pictures of some huge fish in Holland, and I don't know if they've been caught accidentally or they've been targeted. I mean, a lot of your waters are not like they're not like Scandinavian waters where you've got large archipelagos. They're more like large rivers and canal systems.
Yeah.
Shipping lanes. You call them shipping lanes?
Yeah, it was the best pike waters. It was former ocean because we lived in the early days. We have a lot of we live close to the ocean, and we have a water flood in the 50s.
Yeah,
half of Holland drowned, and then they put in like dams.
Yeah.
And it became freshwater instead of salt water.
Okay.
And those are the best potential of big pikes, and a lot of not on a daily basis, but regularly they catch pikes up to 130.
Wow.
So and I never saw, not that I'm aware of, pikes like that in Sweden. Of course, you can catch 130s in Sweden as well, but not as big as in Holland.
No,
not that I'm aware of.
No, like I say, to me, it's pike. If you want to go pike fishing, you go to Sweden. But if you want to go perch and zander fishing, you go to Holland. That's my own head. That's why I personally, that's my own take on it. I think those are the places I want to go. So I've never fished in Holland. I've driven through it before and looked at the waters. And I went across with Matt Boast when I went over to Lund to pick his new boat up, which is the most scariest thing on earth when you go into that showroom at Lund in Holland, and it's like you see all them boats and you've got a credit card there and you want to just buy a boat, and it's
I'll be a regular guest at that showroom.
Listen, I watched the video where you get your new boat, and I remember speaking to those two guys and having a laugh and a joke with them sat on boats and stuff, and really nice guys at Lund. But we're going back into boats a little bit later. So if you're still a pike man, you are the pike man, what's your favorite lure?
I'm more like a hard bait fisherman.
Yeah.
I can't explain why, but I think the busted jerk is still my favorite.
Yeah. Is it popular in Holland as it is in Sweden?
Yeah. And busted jerk is because it's so easy to fish.
Yeah.
You can even cast it in and retrieve it without giving any action, and it will get like a smooth glider.
Yeah.
And it will catch fish everywhere.
In every country as well.
Yeah.
Every waterway, every country. It is quite popular in the UK. Not as popular as I'd like it to be, and not as popular as I think it's going to be going forward. Obviously, CWC have brought me in to grow up market in the UK. But yeah, Pierre said mouse, but obviously it's so involved and it's done so well in Ireland. But the busted jerk is a one for you. That's your lure. You go to lure.
I like I told you in the beginning, I love to fish all over the globe.
Yeah.
And I caught muskies on busted jerk. I caught Amur Pike on busted jerk. I caught sharks on busted jerk. TT, barracudas, you name it, and I caught. They all love busted jerks.
There's even a saltwater version. There's a saltwater version.
Yes, they have the body is the same.
Yeah.
We have only the wire through is
Okay.
a little bit thicker.
Okay. Is that
And
for
it's
catching
a little bit more
GTs?
heavier.
Yeah.
And you can use it like a stick bait. Perfect.
Okay. For like GTs, Grand Trevellis, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Living the dream there. Living the dream.
I traveled half the world to new.
I've seen some pictures. You have literally fished all over. I've seen pictures of you in every single country. Like I say, you've been lucky enough to be part of a team, CWC, who were filmed doing the Amur Pike, and literally that pike is so secretive about it, about the size. I mean, didn't one of our guys catch the record, the world record, while we were there? Because none's ever been recorded over a certain length, have they?
No, it's not official records because there is only a few stupid people who go there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a bit of a trek.
And it's for me, it was like a long dream come true to go there, and it's not easy if you don't have the right connections. Well, for example, if you want to go to Sweden, you can say, okay, tomorrow I go to Sweden, and you drive up to Sweden. You can find a cabin and find a lake and start fishing. That doesn't work if you go to Eastern Russia or to Mongolia.
No.
You need to have the guides. You have to a good spot, somebody who talks the language, because there is not a single guy in Russia who speaks English.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to fix a trip like that. So I was
what a trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, I was one of the lucky guys that I can do that.
And on the video, the fishing looked really good. It actually really good sport.
Yeah, well, also that I was also in a good lucky position that we went over there with really skilled anglers.
Yeah.
And we fished the river system, who looks really similar like the rivers up in Sweden. And if you think how to fish the rivers in your area, so to say, and you take the blueprint and put it on there and think, okay, how shall I fish those spots?
Yeah.
The only thing, but that's also a question, I guess, from you later on, is you don't have fish finders.
Of course.
And fish finder is not about finding the fish, because I think that's another part. But like the depths and the hiding places and see the structures and so on. So you have to do it all by
watercraft.
Yes, and your the feeling in your belly, so to say.
We've all been there. I think that's the best thing being about predator angler, is that especially if you walk in new rivers, new stretch of rivers, and you walk around a corner and you see the peg that looks perfect. It's got a big slack. It's got fast water on the outside. It's got rocks. It's got everything. And you walk around that corner and expectations of catching fish. Listen, you're exactly the same as me. It don't leave me. I'm still like a child. Before I go fishing every time, I'm still can't sleep at night time. I struggle to go to sleep. I'm excited in the morning first thing. I might not look the best first thing in the morning, but I'm definitely up for it. So you are just like me. You still are just a fisherman, and you just still want to go fishing, I suppose.
Yeah, well, you saw the movie as well about fishing in Amur, and you saw me acting like a stupid guy.
Well, that's the great thing about it, because it takes you back to being a child.
You fly literally to the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And it was a long flight, and then we have to sit for like 16 hours in the minivan, doing like this.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then a 6-hour drive with the boats upstream. And then you come in a situation you don't know where to look.
Yeah. And
then you catch the first Amur Pike. And then all the emotions will come out.
I mean, imagine going there and not catching a fish.
That's also fishing.
Yeah, of course it is. But going out for an hour down your local river and not catching a fish is devastating. To drive to the complete other side of the world and endure the journey. I mean, how long did that take you to travel there from start to finish, from leaving your front door to getting to start fishing? How many hours were that?
Long. I can't remember it anymore.
Yeah, over a day for sure.
Yeah.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah,
maybe one day.
But that's what I like. I like to go to places where nobody is ever been.
Yeah,
that's for me the extra rush.
Definitely.
Because I always say everybody can go to Sweden, but I will go to Eastern Russia, or I will go to New Guinea to catch a huge GT or a huge barracuda or big Spanish mackerels. We fished New Guinea. We fished New Guinea, and I was in a local village, and I'm a big guy, almost 2 meters. So I'm big, white, and all the small children, like the Papuas.
Yeah.
They are like the biggest guys over there is like maybe 150.
Yeah.
So
they are a giant.
I was a big giant, white giant. And all
I can imagine.
Children were scared of me and they run away.
I've actually met you a couple of times, and you are a big fella. I'm 6 foot tall, but you are a big guy, aren't you? You're a big, thick guy as well, so not to be argued with. Right, the next question. If pike didn't exist, what species would be your number one species?
Perch.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm still shocked at that. Yes, you're in a country where it does massive, really, really big perch. I mean, I've seen some of them videos on perch fishing in Holland, and it's just insane, the big fish. But you've got so many really good zander, and I can't believe there's not more people dedicated to zander fishing over there.
Well, zander fishing is really huge. Only it's not really spread out.
Okay.
Because you get a mixed picture about the social medias. Because, for example, Canal Gratis, they only do, well, not really only, but they do mainly pike fishing and perch fishing.
Yeah.
But in Holland, we don't have any YouTube channels.
Okay.
Who are doing like zander competitions.
Okay.
And we have a good zander competition in the Netherlands. It's called NKS. It's like Dutch zander competition. And it's really famous, but it's not like spread out on movies and all the social media.
Yeah.
But there are really good skilled zander anglers.
Yeah.
And they catch zanders over 1 meter on
That's crazy.
I know guys, they catch at least maybe 1, 2, 3 a year over 1 meter.
Over a meter. What will that equate to weight-wise?
Sorry?
What will that class as weight-wise if you converted a meter zander to weight? How much would it weigh?
Well, weighing is not really common in the Netherlands. They do it with carp fishing. They weigh the fish. In Holland, we do mainly the length. But I think a zander over 1 meter, maybe 8, 9 kilos.
Wow, nearly 20 pounds. That's a big zander. I think Cecilia. I've got an interview with Cecilia, and I know she's had zander over 21 pound.
Yeah, that's enormous.
21 pound zander's just crazy.
Yeah, but I think she's one of a kind because
definitely
she thinks like a zander.
Yeah.
And she's only into zander fishing.
Yeah, she catches some big pike, which is zander fishing as too.
Yeah. But I'm not really like a specimen hunter like that.
Yeah.
Because I love to fish on other species as well. Yeah. It's not mainly one species that I'm after.
So what is it about perch then? What is it that makes you want to be a perch angler? If there's no pike around, pike could exist. They don't exist anymore. Perch is your number one fish. Why perch? What is it about a perch? We love perch. I love perch. But what is it about perch for you?
It's mainly the action and the aggressive bites.
Yeah.
And I think for a small fish, because it's like an average fish that you normally catch on a regular basis, like 30 centimeters, between 30 and 40. They are so strong and so aggressive.
Yeah.
The bites are so tremendous. I really love the fish. Sometimes I said it's sad that the perch won't grow to 1 meter.
Oh, I mean, you wouldn't want to catch a 1 meter perch, would you? Not on light tackle, anyway.
Yeah.
I think you look at your Nile perch. Can you imagine a Nile perch on ultralight equipment? What, you know, on 10 to 15 gram rods? It just be. They do though. They fight really, really hard, especially in deeper water. Most people over here would have caught them in really deep water, but I mean, I've caught perch in 45-foot water on some really large glacial lakes, and they fight all the way. You know, all the way from the bottom, the fight all the way, the thumping their heads, and it just gets, and especially when it's crystal clear water and you can see fish down there, it's just, oh.
Yeah.
Perch fishing is fantastic.
And second of perch fishing, I like the finesse fishing with small rods like the lizard from Adam.
Yeah,
it's light tackle, and you cast and retrieve it really slow and gentle.
Yeah.
Pike fishing is with big brooms casting. It's like a GT fishing.
Yeah,
it's like gentle and searching the holes on the bottom. And for me, the finesse fishing with drop shot fishing or with cranks, I love it.
I'm saying I love my crankbait. I love crankbait fishing for perch. To me, that's the way I'd always. If I could just target perch, it would be for crankbaits. Just casting crankbaits is brilliant for catching big perch. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Now, last edition, I caught my personal best on Cranky X.
On your Cranky X, the 50 centimeter.
Yeah.
Did you have two 50 centimeters? Did you do one? Did you do a 48 and a 50?
No, I caught a 49 and a 50. My personal best was for like 100 years, 48 centimeters.
100 years. I mean, it's a 50 centimeter perch is just.
I caught so many pikes over 40, but it was never ever bigger than 48.
Yeah.
And then on that day, it was the first day of the competition. I caught a 50 and a 49. So I broke 2 times on personal best in one day.
In one day. Back to back, did you do the 49 first, then the 50?
No, first the 50 and later
then
on
the 49. Well, that's sad. Can you imagine if it had been the other way around? You'd have done a 49, you beat your personal best with a 49, and then you'd nail a 50 afterwards. Yeah. I mean, that's a 50 centimeter perch is just ridiculous. Yeah, that's a huge fish.
It was a dream come true.
Definitely, and especially to get it on camera.
Yeah, that's also unique.
I think the big thing for me, I mean, when I started doing my YouTube, is for me, I want to make like a legacy, like something I can always go back to. You know, I've got young children. I've got a wife and an 8-year-old. I've got a little baby boy due as well soon. And I want to leave that for them. And I want to say that were my dad. He was nuts. He used to go pike fishing. He used to, you know, do these stupid things. And that's my legacy. I have nothing like that from my parents, which is a shame, really. So I wanted to leave, you know, my family something to say, well, that was my dad. That's what he did and stuff. So that's why I did it. I started doing YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's nice. And with YouTube, you will always be remembered.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Next question. Let's have a look. How many days a week on average do you fish? Now, I know you're obviously you're your own businessman. On a good week, on a normal week, how many days a week would you fish?
Well, it depends, but I try to be out once a week.
Just once a week, so similar to what I do, yeah.
Yeah.
That must be hard when all you do is to do with fishing, to only get 1 day a week to fish.
Yeah, but for me, fishing is not compared to Pierre. He's a fishing guide, and he has to be on the water to make a living.
Of course.
When I go out, of course, it's a part of my business, but I don't make any money with fishing.
Yeah.
On the short term, of course, on the long term, when I go out and test some products or making a movie and so on.
Yeah.
But fishing is I always say that thing is also a fun part, to be fair, of course. But I make the money in my office.
Of course. Like myself, at the end of the day, we've got bills to pay, all of us, sadly. Do you prefer rivers or still waters?
I starting to like the streaming rivers.
Okay.
It's not easy. I trained 1 year in advance for the latest edition of Perch Pro.
Okay.
On the rivers, and I must say I got really hooked up. But it's more not about that that it's not easy to fish with cranks and so on, but you have to understand the current compared to how the fish behaves. Because in calm waters, I fish for many years already. Then I understand, okay, what will your lure do compared to the fishing spots?
Yeah.
And then that doesn't work on river fishing because the current can be really affecting how the fish will behave. And that's not easy. But once you understand how it works, then it's really nice.
I'm personally a riverman. So I love river fishing. Still waters are great. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy still waters, but rivers there's just more to think about on a river. There's more. It's not just where you place your boat, it's where it's going to drift, it's where the eddies are and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different to normal fishing. Still waters are great, and I think the good thing about still waters, you can generally get fishing every day on a still water.
Yeah.
Where on a river, if they come up, especially in the UK, if they come up quickly and go coloured, you really, really struggle, and it makes it hard work, really hard work. Another issue in the UK is that we don't have a lot of slipways. So in Holland, where you can drive down a road and maybe see 3 slipways, in UK you might have to go 40 miles before you get to a slip road. A slip so you can get your boat in, and obviously the bigger the boat, the harder to get water. So you are quite blessed, especially in Holland, where you have got plenty of slipways. It's obviously set up a lot more for boaters in Holland.
Sorry,
it's set up a lot better for boat fishing in Holland.
Yeah.
Who's been the biggest influence in your fishing career?
To be fair, I think he's an old timer, and I say it with respect. I think Bertus Rosemeyer.
Yeah.
He's like the godfather of pike fishing.
Yeah.
And I know him personal, of course. It's not from his books or from the internet.
Yeah.
And he is such a nice guy and so polite, and yeah. In the beginning, when I was a youngster, so to say, I always try to. You have some writers. They write because they need to write something.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bertus, he always wrote stories with a message in it.
Yeah.
And I always try to find the key, what his vision behind it was. And for like the competition anglers, I think it's Luc Koppens for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because everybody can win a tournament, but you can't
just
win.
One. Yeah.
But you can't win them all. And if you win them all, then you have something unique.
He is, yeah.
And
it's very unique.
And also Luc is a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And I always try to figure out how he's thinking and how he announced the fishing and compare it to with the high pressure and the currents and morning fishing, afternoon fishing, and because I always say, of course, fishing is also a part of luck. When we go out fishing, you and I, you catch a 120 and I catch a meter pike, then I say it's luck because we are fishing in the same boat.
Of course, yeah.
But if you always catch big fish, then you You know,
some people are just drawn. I think some people have just got a magnet force that no matter where they fish or who they're fishing with, they will just draw a bigger pike. Yeah. I mean, I think that happens on a more regular basis, and I'd like to say, but I think you've got to fish with these guys to up your own game. I think it's very important. If you ever get an opportunity to fish with somebody like yourselves or like Pierre or Truman, if you get to fish with these people, they leave a little bit with you. That, you know, there's something you rub off on people. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You take little tiny nuggets from everybody. So I mean, like I said, I've been lucky enough to finish with Johnny Wobbler, and if you spoke to most people in Scandinavia and they said, I fished with Johnny, they'd be like, I dream I could fish with Johnny. You know, that he is that sort of a Godfather figure over in Holland, in Sweden, isn't he?
I was in a lucky position that I fished 2 times. We did a commercial movie with the Johnny Wobbler.
Yeah.
And I caught. I put it out on my private YouTube channel.
Yep.
And I caught a 115, close to 30 kilos or something.
Crazy.
And on camera promoting his lure, so he was.
It don't get much better than that, does it? It's insane. That lure is insane. It's insane for one reason, that man makes it look so easy to use and catch fish on. If you've got somebody near you who fishes and they fish alongside of you and they're catching on one lure, and you look at that lure and think there's nothing special about that lure, I think the Johnny Wobbler is probably it is one of those lures where you look at it and think, well, it's not a twitch bait, it's not a crankbait, it's somewhere in between. Should you be casting it and retrieving it? Should you be jerking it? It's such a subtle lure, but his records catching big fish on that lure, you know, they're just ridiculous. How many big fish has Johnny Wobbler caught on that lure?
Yeah, tremendous. Hey, but listen to this. We went to fish for Amur Pike in Russia.
Yeah.
I think 80% of all the fish, including the diamonds and so on, was caught on Johnny Wobbler.
There you go.
That on the right circumstances, because it was the rivers were not that deep, maybe the maximum of 2 meters.
Perfect depth, yeah.
And 3 meters most in the middle. But that lure was so perfect for the right circumstances over there.
Yeah, and when you speak to him, when you're on a boat with him, you speak to him. He's so quiet and so mellow, and there's no drama to him, and he just goes, "You boys, just cast over there and retrieve it in nice and steadily, and you will catch the big pike." And you know you're excited because you're fishing with him, and it's just, well, that I think that will go down as one of the best days fishing I've ever had. Not for the fact of the fish we caught, but just the fact that I fished alongside him. And I mean, I stood maybe for about 2 hours just talking to him, because he's a really fascinating guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. And last but not least, I have a third, and that's Truman. I fished for many times with him.
Yeah.
And what I like about him, because he's also really skilled pike fisherman, and I think in his previous life he was a pike.
Yeah, Mr. Pike. Yeah. Mr. Pike.
The will to catch a fish.
Yeah.
And just when he entered the water until the last cast, it's like casting. Never give up.
Yeah.
Never, under how hard the wind blows, how hard it rains, how bad the conditions are, always positive, always, and fish on. So he's also a really big example for me.
Yeah, I think that's quite a good group of people. I think there. I mean, Rosemary were really big in UK back in the late 90s, early 2000s. His products did really well over here. There were a lot of rods come out over here. His lower caddy bags were really popping. In fact, I've still got the original Rosemary bag, and it did really well. And then it just seemed to fade away in UK, and it was a bit strange. But I know now they've got a couple of pro staff in UK, a couple of good lads as well. So they're pushing it back in UK. So it's nice to see Rosemary products back over here. Do you see them on a regular basis?
No, not anymore. But I'm Yeah, we are friends on Facebook, of course,
Yeah,
and on the big shows in the Netherlands, we always meet and have a chat.
yeah. I used to love the magazine, you know, the catalogue. Used to get
Yeah,
the catalogue, and some of his pike he caught in there were just. Again, he's caught some really big pike, hasn't
yeah, yeah.
he? Right. Does colour of lure make a difference?
Only for me personally, because there is a lot of colors. I think the best color is confidence.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. A lot of it, I think a lot of it's there.
Yeah,
It's in the head, I think, a lot of it.
I think 90%.
Yeah.
Only when I fish in Sweden in the Baltic Sea, then I prefer, maybe you know the color 114 of Buster Jerk, the blue
Yeah.
glow.
Yeah, yeah.
I can really see when I use that color that I get more strikes,
Right.
because I think they see the pike see it as like herring.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And but for me, that's only the color that I said. Well, if I go to salt water, brackish water in Sweden,
Yeah.
then I only fish with that color.
Okay.
But
Okay.
normally, yeah, and of course, but I think it's so personal. If you see like Truman and Pierre, they fish with spotted bullet, but they have, like I said, so much confidence in that color.
And it's
And
a great, I think bullhead's a really weird colour because it's a bit rubbish. They know the colour brown and dark black and stuff. It's
yeah,
just, to me, it doesn't look anything special. And there's no fish in UK that are that colour or any other waters. I know obviously there is some brown coloured fish, but it's really weird how successful that lure's been, that colour of lure spotted bullet has been. Johnny Wobbler, I know he gave me one of his wobblers when I were in Roygan, and he gave me one of his own personal ones, and that were in spotted bullet colour. And he goes, that lure will catch you fish after fish after fish.
yeah.
He's them guys that are really tuned onto that colour. But when we talked to Pierre the night, and I think he said there's too many variants. You know, if it time of day, the conditions, the time of the year. But he did say that there is some waters he's fished on where they have definitely been tuned into one specific colour. And I think we've all had days fishing where that happens.
Yeah, well, the thing is, if you have too much color, so to say, it will come into your head, because
Yes.
when one color doesn't work, okay, grab a new one, and
Yeah.
then you're more busy with changing the colors than do actual fishing.
Of course.
For me, I always train myself, and sometimes in the military discipline, okay, one lure, one color, and they have to come.
Yeah.
And otherwise it will go in your head, and
Yeah.
this lure, that lure, and yeah, and maybe I think a lot of people will disagree with me, and they say, colors does matter, but I always stick to the theory, the best color is confidence.
Absolutely. I think I mean that's a really good answer. It's a really clever answer. I try not to, it's one of the questions, as someone who's been a lure fisherman for a long time, I get asked on a regular basis. People say, what colour should I have for that river? What colour should I have for that river? And I'm same as you. I've got more confidence in action of lure than I have of colour of lure. So if I've got a lure, if you want something like a stick bait, I'm not bothered what colour it is, as long as it's a stick bait and it works correctly. If you want a jerk bait, as long as it works perfectly in in a perfect test, a long jerks, wide pauses, you want it to cover as much water as possible. As long as it does that, then I'm happy to do that. If I haven't got that colour, then it's one of those things. I think I think everybody on earth, especially lure fishermen, love buying lures. It's what we do. We buy lures, and I spoke to Pierre about this around buying too many lures. It's quite easy to just go out and buy hundreds of lures, not get on with them, then chuck them in a cupboard, and they're never used again because I caught on a pink lure the other day, and I'm only ever going to catch on pink lures. I know guys that don't like orange lures. I've caught tons of pike on orange jerkbaits. So there's in their head, I've never caught on an orange lure. and so I'm never going to use an orange lure. But yet they'll stand next to me and see me catching fish on orange lures, and it's got to get to their head. You could tell straight away that is head thing. I also know people that can't catch on buster jerks. How can you not catch pike on a buster jerk?
That's impossible.
It's impossible. And to the people who do say that, and I'm not going to name them on here and shame them, but they know they are. You need to spend more time doing it. That's for sure. Have confidence what you're doing. I think lure fishing to me is something you build up over years. You build up a confidence where you know if you go to a water and your equipment's correct, you've got a really good balanced outfit, you've got the correct lures with the correct split rings, sharp hooks, with the right guides, you are going to catch fish. You are going to get an opportunity to catch fish. And it's as simple as that. And no matter what you put in front of a feeding pike, they will take it. If they're that way out where they will. I've been on a boat when pike have been on the hard feeding frenzy, and there's somebody casting a jerk bait off one side, there's somebody a soft plastic off the other side, and they're both catching. There's someone with a spinner bait on back, they catch on that. If pike are in that zone, they're on a group of bait fish and they're feeding hard, you don't really need to complicate it by what colour it is. It's just get a lure in the water and take it. And I think it's a coincidence of catching. So in other words, you could go to a peg on a river and you walk up to that peg. Do you understand what I mean by peg?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a station where you can fish. You can walk up to that peg. You cast a lure out. You've never caught in that peg before, but you've got a brand new guppy, and you cast it out there, and it's an orange one. I cast it out on of there, and I catch my personal best. Do you then switch all your lures to orange because you caught on that? And I think it's quite easy for people to get stuck down that mindset. I see people buying multiple lures and saying, I just want one in that colour. And you're like thinking, if you don't like that colour, most lures you can change the colours yourselves. You can paint any lure you want to do. It's there. You've got paints to do it. But don't get just hung up on colour. That's my personal thing. And I think you covered it perfectly where you said a lot of the time it's in your head and you've got to just let the pike tell you if you're doing it right.
Yeah. Well, in that, I got another example. I think it's more important also the presentation. Yeah. I fished once in Sweden with a good friend of mine, and he's also a really skilled pike fisherman. Listen to this. We have both a buster jerk in same color. Yep. We got the same line. We got the same rods. And I really outfished him like 10-0.
Okay.
And it was all about the presentation of the lure.
Yep.
So I think the presentation of the lure is more important than only the color.
Yeah. It's lures catch pike. They catch pike. If you put them in the right place at the right time and you present it correctly, I think that's got to be a lot more important than colour. Pike you've got to imagine what a pike sees. They've got pretty binocular vision, so they're looking up most of the times from down in the water column, and they're looking up, so they're generally seeing a silhouette. You cannot tell me something that's orange and something that's black side by side in the water looks any different than just something dark.
Yeah, and I got an interesting tip for that one as well. I mention it always on fishing shows. In Holland, we have fishing shows, and on a normal day, there will be a couple of thousand people. Wow. Well, imagine you have a football, and you roll the ball over the floor. Only the people in the who are close by, they see the ball. When you blow up a balloon and you put it out in the air, everybody will see the balloon.
Absolutely. Yeah, perfect.
And that's also with pike fishing.
Yeah.
You must bring your lure in the direction that the fish can see it.
Yeah.
And I fished a lot of times in Sweden on crystal clear water. And when the pike is active, they will come, and we saw it because the water is so crystal clear, from 8 meters all the way up like a rocket and hammer the lure on the surface. Yeah. That's more important than only picking the right color.
Yeah.
It's all about the presentation. And of course, I said it. Maybe a lot of people don't agree with me, and it's fine. But for me personally, and you asked questions to me,
Yeah.
that is colors is on second place, and
Yeah.
presentation is on presentation and confidence. For me, it's on place number one.
I think that's a fantastic answer. That it really is. Next question: Rattles in soft plastics, yes or no?
I've used it. I've got the. It's like aluminium and small balls, and you also have it from glass.
Yeah. But
for me personally, it doesn't give me any. No.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a gimmick.
No, I won't say it's a gimmick, but for me personally, it's no
advantage.
No extras.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. That I like I say, I've had I caught a lot of fish on soft plastics without rattles, but I've also caught a lot of fish with rattles as well. But I think a lot depends on the sort of waters you fish, because I fish generally rivers, and they're pretty coloured rivers. They're not crystal clear. You know, most of the time when I go on a river, you'll be looking at a sea, maybe, you know, half a metre down in the water without your lure disappearing. So I think in terms of adding rattles when the water clarity is really poor, I can understand that why. I can understand why that works so well. In crystal clear waters, I won't bother. I don't think it makes a difference whatsoever. But like I say, a lot of these questions are from myself and other people, so I'm not the only person asking these questions. There's other people that I've spoken to, and once I looked through them all, I thought it's actually a really good cross section of what I'd like to speak to you about. So it works. And listen, there's no right or wrong answer. Your answer is what you say. It's only other people will take mickey out of you, like Pierre and Truman, if you get it wrong.
Now, maybe I'm blessed that I fish mainly in waters that it's pretty clear. So
Yeah.
if I fish only murky waters, then maybe I choose for rattles instead. But
yeah, again, it's very specific to conditions. Very specific to conditions. This is one that caught Pierre out. He couldn't understand me. So, young Evert, you as a young boy, giving advice to yourself about going forward about fishing. If you could give yourself one bit of advice as a young boy, what would it be?
Just go out and enjoy fishing.
Simple as that.
And don't look to others. Don't go out and put in your head that you have to catch a meter pike. They will come.
Yeah.
Eventually, but go out and enjoy the sport.
Period. Sound advice. Super sound advice. Does your son fish?
And be careful with the fish.
Okay.
Does
your son fish?
Treat it like a live animal.
Yeah, definitely.
And not like a garbage bag. And release it gentle.
Yeah.
And because you can catch it another time as well.
They are our future. You treat them well, and you can catch them 2 or 3 times. Some really big fish have been caught 4 or 5 times in the UK. Really big fish as well.
And the social media, of course, it will affect also the young people. But my advice and tip is don't look at social media, because they only post the success stories.
Yeah. Nobody shows hard days.
Nobody's telling on social media that they have a day of 0 fish.
Yeah. And does that ever happen, Evert?
Of course, everybody.
I think I've probably got about 35 hours of really crap footage with no fish on it, so I might put that as a video. Right, if you won the lottery, unlimited funds, would you still do what you're doing?
Ooh, that's a tough question, because I made from my hobby my work.
Yeah.
Well, I think I will change. I don't think I'm gonna sell my company. Maybe to my son, but I will change my work schedule. Definitely. Now I fish maybe once a week, and then I will work once a week and do the rest.
I think, I mean, it's everybody's dream to have unlimited money. But I think I'd probably do what you do for a daily living. I think I'd want to do some, I just want a boat everywhere. You've been really lucky. I mean, you have literally fished all over the world, especially catch predators. Wouldn't it be lovely to have a boat ready for you over at Lake of the Woods, and then a lovely place on Merlin, and somewhere really nice in Holland, and somewhere really nice in south of France? You know, just boats waiting for you with a guide, because I don't want to mess about. I want someone to take me out. In fact, I might employ Pierre. That's what I'll do. I'll buy Pierre and I'll use him as a fishing guide.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
I think it would be a good plan. I think it might cost me more than £1 million though. What time of day is your most successful and why for fishing?
If I can pick one moment, then it's gonna be the evenings.
Right.
Just just before dark.
I think a lot of people say that. I mean, it's just, I think light is a big part of pike fishing. So first light and last light to me are the times, the twitching hours, when stuff starts to happen and stuff starts to get uneasy. Do you know what I mean? There's something about the first couple of hours of light and the last couple of hours of light. That's my personal thing. But I know Pierre said exactly the same. He prefers evening, mid-afternoon, depending on time of year, and evenings at the best times.
What do you see a lot of times in Holland? The trailer ends at 5, 6 in the morning is so crowded because everybody is going to the fishing spot. Everybody's excited, and at 4 o'clock, 5 in the afternoon, everybody's going home. And for me, then the fishing really starts.
Yeah,
but they have to be at home for the wife, and dinner starts. And
we all know that. We all know that. Yes, I know. We've all had those phone calls. One more cast. Yeah, we've all been there. It is a good time of night. That, like I'm saying, that I really like evening times, especially if you're going to be fishing around warmer weather. So in other words, if it's like summer or if it's a warm autumn, you know, the last couple of hours on a summer's day when it's just water's cooled down, there's a little bit of a chill on your back of your neck and mist coming off water. It's just there's no better time to be out, is there? No. And like I said it to Pierre, people forget that we as fishermen see some of the best wildlife. We see the most stunning places on earth because we're available at that time of day and that time of night.
Personally, for me, that's also fishing.
Massively, yeah. And it's what my boss never get. My boss, he cannot understand why I want to go fishing. And I'll say, unless you are a fisherman and you witness, if you're going down the river and there's mist coming off the river and you go around the corner and there's a stag deer stood on the side of a lake. I remember that happened to me on Windermere. There were a large red stag stood on a mountain on side of like a lump of rocks. And I just said, that is fishing. That is, to me, is what it's all about.
I was fishing in Canada at Lake of the Woods, and we were in a small pond fishing for pikes, and we caught one after the other. And the small pikes, they also always splash, and we get the attraction of the big eagle, so to say.
Oh wow!
And we had a close encounter because he saw us. Retrieving the small pike, and it fell off in the boat. So it was in the boat like and then the big eagle came and attacked us.
Brilliant.
That's also fishing.
It is fishing. It's what it's all about. I mean, we've got a bit of a problem in UK with otters. Otters are becoming a bit of an issue, to be honest with you. We as a country, we killed them. We wiped them out. We use dogs to kill them. And then they got reintroduced, and now they're everywhere, and they're doing a lot of damage to our stock. And pike are quite an unfit fish. They're quite a lazy fish. They'll sit in an area for a long period of time between feeds, and I think it makes them prime food for these big otters. And they're huge. These things are huge. They're 5.5 foot long. They're 6 foot long.
Now we have the problem now in Holland with catfish. Because a lot of pikes, they are swimming on half water, and they still think they are on the top of the chain.
Yeah, and they're definitely not. Is catfish a big thing? And I didn't realize there were catfish in Holland.
They are coming more and more. And,
right. Okay.
We have some places in the Netherlands where the catfish completely destroy the pikes.
Wow. Wow, so I didn't also know that. Are they Welsh catfish as well, same as ours, European catfish, Wells?
Yeah, big ones, yeah.
What sort of size are you getting?
Well, I'm not really into the catfish fishing. I caught some in Spain, but the record in Holland, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like 2 meters 30 something.
Oh, big fish, yeah, really big fish.
Yeah, big ones. Yeah.
They're definitely not good in our waterways. There's a couple in some of our rivers that we have fishing lakes that in the UK they're very, very strict on catfish because they've seen what they've done in other countries. And what they're doing in the UK is I think you've got to have a special license to own water that cannot flow into the water. So in other words, they're almost landlocked where there's no feeder stream, so no water can run into a river. But some people have taken these fish and introduced them into waterways, and they've got really, really big. Not crazy big like you get on I don't know, like you get in Italy on Po and stuff like that. But they're big. These fish are big, and they're eating a lot of fish. And they do need to be controlled. It's a sad state of affairs, but they do need to be controlled because when they do get on the water, I mean, look how well they've done on Ebro.
Yeah.
On Ebro, it's just the ecosystem is all now catfish and carp. They've taken over all the other fish that were in there, and those fish are just dominant. Now, don't get me wrong, catching a 300-pound catfish must be an amazing thing, but not on my local river, that's for sure. That's a big problem. Predation's a big problem. How much involvement do you have on new products with CWC? And can you name one product that you're most proud of, what you've been involved in?
Well, not really involved because I'm not working in a CWC company. I'm like an agent.
Yeah.
And of course, I try to tell Stefan what's hot in our countries.
Okay.
But not really in a way that they ask me as a product manager, so to say.
Okay, but you do get to use some of the new products, so you are giving your opinion on them. So you are like a consultant.
Yeah. I was with Life, and he asked me about Ghostbuster, my advice, and so on.
And it must be nice to have a little bit of part play, because if you take that lure and you say, "I'm sorry, Stefan, I don't like that lure. That don't work. It needs to do this and doesn't that." It must be nice and quite rewarding to know that you've had your little part to play in that lure's life, how it's come from being a prototype all the way through to a manufactured product.
Yeah, I have that a little bit in like the Ghostbuster.
Yeah, Ghostbuster's a nice lure as well. Again, there's none of them in the UK at this moment in time, so hopefully we'll get some of those over here. Fish finders, are they cheating or essential parts of fishing?
No, it's not. It's not cheating, because if you are put in a guy who can't fish and give him the best sonar,
He's not going to catch.
No, he doesn't catch any fish.
Yeah,
I think the sonar is a better word than fish finder.
Yeah.
Of course, I use the Humminbird Solix now, and especially with the mega function, and you can see fish, but it's still difficult to the experience of many years using the hummingbirds. You can say, okay, that can be a zander or it can be a pike, but you can't see it for 100% sure.
Yeah.
And of course, you have now with the panoptics and so on, it's getting better and better by the year. But still, even with the best units, it's still a help.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not, in my opinion, it's not when you put on your entire boat with screens that you will be the kingfisher.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I suppose I remember there's a phrase used to use in shooting. If you give a good shooter a really nice expensive gun, it will catch. He'll shoot more birds. But someone who's just started and put a £100,000 shotgun in his hand and he won't hit a thing. I think good sonar makes a good fisherman better.
Yeah.
And I'm at this moment in time, I've got Lawrence finders on my boat, and I'm just thinking about changing over to Humminbird. What's the differences? Do you see a massive difference between the two products, or is there good parts and bad parts of each one?
Well, I got a lot of questions from people always, and I compare it also always with cars. It's the same question that I ask you: what's the better car, a BMW or a Mercedes?
Yeah, of course. Personal preference.
It's like a personal feeling, and it's like what we have with the colors, and what about what we have with the lures. It's what suits the best by you. And for me, it's a Humminbird.
Yeah.
And why? Because you can work in the one boat network. My Humminbird units, I can communicate with my Minn Kota. I can communicate with my talons.
Yeah.
I with one screen. It's like more like a computer. Okay. I can touch the screen on the Humminbird, and my Minn Kota understands what to do, and also with the talons. And if you have mixed, for example, with Lawrence, it can't communicate.
No.
In my boat, everything is connected.
Yeah. With
cables or with Bluetooth, and that works. Yeah, great.
I must admit, I'm loving the side imaging. I fished with Gary Benny, and Gary had I can't remember what unit it was. I don't think it was top end, but it had down scan and side scan. And I remember looking on the side scan and thinking, I'm not seeing that better picture on my Lowrance. And it made me think, I should be maybe changing to a. I think the side scan's better on the Humminbird. If I'm brutally honest, it looks a lot better to me, a lot clearer.
The side scan of the Humminbird, and especially the Solex units. I've got Solex units on my boat. They are really tremendous. They are crystal clear when you have the right settings. And sadly, it's in Dutch because I made it for the Netherlands market, so to say.
Yeah.
But I made some movies and I explain how the side imaging works, because a lot of people doesn't know how to understand how side imaging works, and especially with the water column.
Yeah.
In related to the side scan.
You need to convert that into English.
Yeah.
Definitely, because it's something I'd be interested in. And there's not many videos. I know the Americans are really up on them, and they do a lot of videos. But Americans are a bit in your face. I think that in English would be very helpful, especially for me. If I'd switch over to Humminbird, I think it'd be a big bonus for me, because I tried to watch it the other night, and you can see you turning the dials, and I'm thinking, just if I could just understand what you were saying, because there's no subtitles yet. But we will get that sorted. English subtitles.
I got a lot of questions about that, but I made those movies especially for the Dutch market, because the English versions are so massive. If you type in on YouTube side imaging, you find hundreds of good movies, but there is not a single movie in Dutch about side imaging.
Oh, there you go. There's
I turn on the light because
supply and demand.
I think this is better now.
It's much better. I can see it now. Right, wire or fluorocarbon for leaders?
Titanium.
Titanium.
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Go on. What's your thing? I had this conversation with Pierre. Pierre said he's fluorocarbon all the way, unless maybe jerkbait fish. Some circumstances where it's jerkbait fishing and he might want titanium, or maybe ultra if you're going very light. Why wire? At the moment, I use titanium. I'm thinking maybe change it to fluorocarbon. Convince me why I should not.
Well, for me, I think titanium is more solid. I always make a joke about fluorocarbon. I always said it's still nylon.
Yeah, it is.
And and big pikes, they can damage it really big. And I hardly heard stories about broken titanium leaders.
Yeah.
And I heard a lot of stories about broken fluorocarbon.
Okay.
And the reason why, because I always try to explain why, is I think for a pike, it's not really necessary. When we do carp fishing, the carp, he will approach the boilies really gentle, and he touches with his lips and nibbles.
Yeah.
Okay, he feels a line, off he goes. Every pike will hit a lure with 50 k's per hour, full speed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you really think that he will investigate? Oh, that's titanium. Okay, turn around. I don't believe in it. Maybe I'm wrong.
I get that. I completely get that, Evert. But the thing for me, what about your perch fishing? Do you still go for wire on perch? If you're using crankbaits, would you use wire or would you use fluorocarbon?
Perch fishing, I used fluorocarbon.
So if you're using fluorocarbon for perch, is it same? You know, do you not see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the moment, if I'm using small soft plastic jigs with a single hook, I would always use fluorocarbon. If I'm using crankbaits, I will always put a titanium leader, really, really thin titanium or wire leader up to 20 pounds, because I know there's a chance that a pike's going to inhale that bait. Even though, you know, if you're not fishing in an area what's known for pike, there's always a chance that a pike's going to come up and inhale that. And it's been the thing that's always put me off fluorocarbon, is that I think listen, I've got some in the garage and I got it out the other day and I tied it between my hands, I pulled it as tight as I could and I chewed on it for minutes and I couldn't make a mark, but I haven't got sharp incisors like pike have. And I've fished in Holland enough to know that, in Sweden enough to know that everybody in Sweden uses it. And, you know, you speak to Pierre and he uses it, but it's really interesting, especially I've always been an advocate of titanium. Always, you know, and in the UK, there's more and more people using fluorocarbon. But it's really refreshing to hear that you're still a titanium man. What do you go for? Is it £75 or £100 breaking strain?
When I'm doing jerkbait fishing,
Yeah.
I will go even up to 160 pounds.
Wow.
Because
just single strand.
Yeah, single strand.
Yeah. Wow.
Because in my mind, a pike won't come like a carp and inspect the leader.
Yeah.
They will go in, boom.
Simple as that.
So why using the fluorocarbon?
Yeah, it's me personally, I've always said to people, if you're that worried that fluorocarbon makes that much of a difference, you need to look at your own technique. You need to you need to. I think it's quite easy for anybody who's not catching fish to think, well, it must be my leader. If I change fluorocarbon, I'm going to catch more pike. It doesn't work like that. I know that a lot of people say you're never going to catch a big perch with a wire leader, and I've caught a lot of £3 perch on wire leaders.
Yeah, but for perch, I think it's different story, because when you use the busted jerk, the presentation won't be affected if you have fluorocarbon or titanium.
Yeah.
When you fish with titanium leaders or even thick fluorocarbon on small cranks, then your presentation can be totally different.
Completely agree. Yeah.
Why in perch fishing, I always use the fluorocarbon instead of titanium.
And do you up your breaking strain? What sort of breaking strain do you use for perch?
The maximum with cranks, so to say, it's 0.35.
Oh, so it's still pretty strong. It's still pretty strong breaking strains.
Because in my opinion, when the pikes attack your lure, but my philosophy is when that happens, you fish in the wrong spots for perch.
Yeah.
But it can also always happen. 9 of 10, they only have the lure.
Of course.
They never swallow it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Because you
Yeah,
do
I know what you're saying.
you do fast retrieving, and maybe
Yeah.
and 9 of 10 they have it just in front of the mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, we've all had circumstances where we've been using fluorocarbon, we've caught pike and vice versa. And I personally have never been bit off. I've never actually had a pike bite me off when I've been fishing with fluorocarbon. And only times I've been close is when I've actually put pressure on the trace when I'm just about to hook a fish. You know, and it's just under the net and you put pressure on it and it pings and you think, that's it, I was so close. But one of my pals, Drew, had a 30-pound pike on a trout water this last year, a 30-pound pike, and he was using a 10-pound fluorocarbon trace. And we use, you know, a perch fishing. These things happen, and if you play them well, the fish, you can get away with it. But listen, your titanium and Pierre's he's a fluorocarbon man, so it's going to be interesting through this series. It'll be interesting to see what everybody says.
I think it brings us back to the question about colors. It's all about confidence.
Yeah, definitely, and personal preference.
And for Pierre, is it fluorocarbon? And for me, it's titanium. And I think we are both right or both wrong.
Yeah, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but it's just I think it's quite interesting to just hear everybody's opinion of it.
Yeah,
it's good. Right, I know you've got a new boat, but this is a boat question. What boat do you currently have, and why did you pick that boat?
The boat that I have now is
look. I can see that little cheeky smile on your face when you're talking about your Lund.
It's a long dream come true.
Yeah,
I'm 53 years old, and I dreamed for this boat for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
But I've got the Land 1875 Pro V Bass. It's the Bass boat.
Yeah.
With Mercury 200 V8.
Yeah.
And that's a real fishing machine. It's fully equipped with Hummingbird and Mankota. I've got the 2 Solexes.
Yeah.
One in the console and one in front. Okay. I've got Minkota Ultrax.
Yeah.
That's the really high-end Minkota.
Yeah.
Cable steering and double talon on the back.
That is a proper boat.
Yeah, that's I don't know in miles, but in kilometers it's close to 100, and that's even far on the highway.
Is that about 75 miles an hour?
No.
No, it's not.
No,
I'll work it out. But what I'll do is I'll also put a picture on the top of the page showing your boat. It's immense. Like I say, I was lucky enough to go to Lund and walk through them front doors and see them boats in there. It just makes you sick. I'll tell you what's really interesting. How are you getting on with having a console rather than a tiller?
Yeah, I've got I'm a tiller man, so to say.
Yeah, same here.
Life with tillers. My previous boat, I had the Mercury 115 horsepower, but also with tiller.
Okay.
I always said real men drive tillers.
Yeah, of course we do. No. Yeah, I still believe that.
No, but I think even if I have a big boat, but I need space in my boat. I don't want obstacles, and a console, in my opinion, was also always an obstacle.
Yeah. That's what I've always thought.
With a bus boat, I have plenty of space, so to say, and you can't drive a bus boat with a tiller. That's not possible. So that's why I changed for the first time in my life to a console.
What engine you got back there?
Sorry?
How big's the engine you've got? The Mercury?
200 horsepower, V8. It's a Mercury Pro XS.
Yeah, that's a beautiful engine. I think there were one. I think that might be what Matt had on the back of his boat when I was there, and it's as tall as me. It's nearly 6 foot tall. Is that engine?
Yeah, I think Matt had a Ferrado.
Is that what it was? No, it might be. I'm sorry, it might be. I thought it was V8.
Okay.
I might be wrong. It were bloody quick anyway.
Yeah.
Right. What's the most important piece of kit on that boat that makes your life easier?
Talon.
Definitely.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, anybody that doesn't understand about boats, just explain what a talon is. Because in UK, obviously, we don't have talons in UK. They're useless.
Talons, they are shallow water anchors, and I've got the model that goes for 4.5 meters of depth.
Wow, that's deep.
And normally, when you do a drift, especially for pike fishing, when you hit the first, when you get the first strike, then what you can do is anchor your main quota, and then you will be on spot lock.
Yeah.
But with spot lock, even if you have the best main quota or the best other brand you have, you're still moving, and especially with wind. When you use the talons, they are like double anchor, because I have two.
Yeah.
They go in the bottom, and your boat is steady, and it's quiet, because with the main quota on spot lock, it's still on the water because it's trying to put it on its position.
Yeah.
And you must really believe me that the talons give me more fish.
I bet they do, yeah. Especially on perch, when you're perch fishing, because of the presentation.
You enter a spot, your boat is steady and still.
Yeah.
You can cast in all directions and hammer the spot until it's empty.
Yeah.
And when you have a drifting boat, you can use the drift sacks or spot lock, but it's never as steady as talons.
Have you ever used them on flowing water on rivers?
Yes.
And it's still okay as long as you stay in slacks, as long as you're in, eddies.
Yeah, not full in the stream, but in the eddies, it's no problem.
No problem. That's interesting. Right, the final question. How has coronavirus impacted you and your day-to-day business, and do you think it will change the way we interact in the future, especially fishing-wise?
Well, if I see the best fishing stores in the Netherlands, I visit today one of my biggest customers, and they have a tremendous upscale of sales.
Yeah.
Like huge, because all the people are sitting at home. They are bored. They can't do anything. Okay, let's do some fishing.
Yeah.
The only problem for me is it's recreation fishing. So they go to the store, buy a 10-pound rod, and they do some fishing.
Okay.
In my business, like CWC, it's all high-end materials.
Yeah. And
the people are going out now. They are recreational fishermen, and they don't gonna spend the money on the our customers, so to say.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. My sales in the beginning of the crisis, my sales dropped. It's now steady and a little bit upgoing.
Okay.
Also, and that affects me very much, is I got two events, one in Sweden who is postponed, and one, the predatory in Holland in June, that's also postponed. And both are going to October, in the hope, I cross my fingers for that.
Yeah, definitely.
That we can do events, because our Prime Minister said that all big events and also music events, but events in general, are all cancelled until the 1st of September. Of course, I lost a lot of money, because I have made a lot of cost in reservations and bookings, and but that's part of doing the business. But I think with a little bit of help, also with the participants, of course, they need to support me also on that one.
Of course.
That we can manage it, and hopefully we do it in October.
Yeah, and also we miss the shows as well, because we're going to work together over at Sports with Musky.
FTX is cancelled, and I think
ICAST gone as well.
Yeah, and I think as long as we don't find a virus fluid, or I don't know the English name, but that we are gonna resistance against the corona.
Yeah,
we will be in a strange situation. And
yeah,
we
definitely.
In UK, I think you also have it in the 1.5 meters distance rule.
Yeah, it's I think it's 2 meters, so 6 foot. You've got to be 6 foot apart at all times. There's no wearing face masks. That's not happened.
No.
I'm still working full time. It's not stopped me. I've worked all the way through because I work in the fuel industry. So fuel gets ambulances and hospitals heated and stuff. So I've still got to work. But it's been hard on a lot of people. Obviously, my wife's she's 7 or 8 months pregnant, so she's due a baby very shortly. So she's been at home for 12, 15 weeks. It's been hard. It's been hard for a lot of families and a lot of people. But listen, we will get through it. We will get to the other side of it. And we discussed this earlier on. It's just a fish. The fish will wait. They will be there when we come out of this, and the fishing will be almost so much sweeter. You know, even a day out catching no fish will be a good day after this.
Yeah, I agree.
So hopefully it'll all get right, and same again for your business as well, Evert, because it's obviously it's your business. It's how you make your money, and we don't want to be sending food parcels over.
It's my way of living, and but my company is healthy.
Yeah.
So I can handle some loss in sales.
Yeah.
But I hope we can go back to the normal situation soon, because when you have a pop or something like that, then you are in real trouble.
Definitely. Hopefully it'll all get right for all of us. We'll all be out fishing again. Listen, Evert, that's the very final question. I'd love to just thank you for coming on tonight. I mean, it's gone 1 hour and 30 minutes. So you've beaten me and you've beaten Pierre. Listen, it's been fantastic. Listen, you can if you look on internet, you'll be able to find Evert on his through Instagram, his Facebook account, and also his YouTube account. If you want to have a look up there, I'll put links below so you can see that. So good night, Evert, and I will speak to you soon. Look after yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much for the interview. It was nice talking to you.
It's my pleasure. Look after yourself, Evert.
Yeah, and I hope my questions on the answers can help a lot of fishermen who are following you. And I always say to the people in Perch Pro, keep on hammering.
Take care. Cheers, okay. Evert.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
What a legend. Right, so I better get off because it's taken an hour and a half. What an ace bloke. What an interesting guy. He's obviously caught everything. He's caught him from all over the world. Brilliant bloke. So that's it. That's Evert's interview over and done with. Got somebody else tomorrow night what I'm going to interview. So you'll have to wait for that one. Hopefully this one will be out. Well, it'll be out now if you're watching it. So enjoy, and I'll see you at the next one. Take care. Tight lines. Look after you.